Nothing on the first hit. Uh, 4, 8, 6, 9. Let's take a look.
Alpha 7823 CMC.
Interesting. Holy fuck.
Pacific Standard Vault.
Okay. Interesting. Sody, Buck, Kit, Monroe, Bell. All right. Let's take a look. So that one's a no-go, and then we have DNA match James Kelly. Wait, what? Oh, shit. I misspelled it and it still came up. That's kind of interesting. Huh. James Kelly. Let me redo these just to make sure. 6587 7784 4869. Definite no for that one. Okay. Well, we don't really have anything here, which is as I kind of expected. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if I want to add this to the report. I'm gonna get a second opinion real quick because it kind of depends on how it's read.
Dispatch.
Hey, Xavier. I'm gonna just give you a quick rundown. Yeah. I just stripped that search of highway, and I found 3 hits on DNA. All 3 are separate or don't have anyone tying to them.
Congratulations.
It was, I mean, timeline-wise, 6 hours, and I can't prove if any of these are actually involved because they were all in 3 separate areas, and it just proves how, unfortunately, invalid some of this evidence I think can be. Should I add this to that report, or should I just hold off for now and just kind of?
I would say I would just document that what you found, right? But I would just say the things that we found were inconclusive or unhelpful.
Okay.
Right? Because it's not helping or hurting the case either way. Like
yeah,
it's just information that we gathered, and it'll show the thoroughness of the investigation. So I would say keep it.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I can do that, and I will go from there.
Okay.
Thanks, Monroe. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, so we'll just add them to the report anyway, just to have them, but I don't think they're gonna do anything. Mm-mm. Ooh, there's no sim. Okay, interesting. 3256. You know, did anyone actually run? I didn't check Braddock's statement, but I'm gonna do this anyway. No DNA found. All right. Well, that was long-winded. I think we kind of got what we need from this, though. I'm not super like pressed on getting one thing or another. I think from what I've gotten so far, this evidence is going to be kind of null and void for the most part. I think the missing phone is one thing, but it's evidence right now, so there's nothing that can be done about that, unfortunately. None of these match. Yeah. Gonna wait for 30 hours playing Oscar Run State and anime. How goes it? That sounds like a good time.
Dispatch 145, 1041.
Morning. Off my board.
All right. Trying to think if there's anything else that we need to do. Hey, what's up? There's none left. How you doing? Magic and Slayer, almost 91 Slayer, I think. I don't know what my Slayer level is at. I want like 99 Slayer more than anything in the game. Oh man. Some of these announcements are very interesting. Maybe we should try and sleep. You know what's funny? Sleep is like... It's amazing how much roleplay happens in the PD. Do you know how many days I have said openly that I am not staying around very long, and then I always find myself staying around way too long? What the fuck was that? Hold on. I don't know what I just heard. All right. Evidence done. I'll do my statement tonight, or when I wake up in the morning, I'll do it just on my laptop. I don't feel like doing it right now. It's not needed this second. By the way, if anybody missed it while we were talking to to Malton, we got an invite to Siobhan and Max's wedding. Please wear red. Imagine having a normal sleep schedule. Couldn't be me, dog.
Dispatch 113, 1038, southbound Elgin, nearest cross Swiss Street, a group 6 van.
En route.
Why do I feel like this is strangely a test to the PD to see if cops are willing to show up? It's got that little suspicious touch to it. Wonder how many people get kidnapped at the wedding. Oh, God. Dear God.
105 traffic San Andreas under La Porta, black in color, 4-door.
But I feel people are going to be bombed. I think that's a little excessive. Oops. Sorry. Move your car. I don't think people are going to get bombed. I don't think anything crazy is going to go down outside of like cops being robbed. I think is a definite. Or I'm wrong and they just decide to fucking, just like any other event that happens, gets fucking destroyed.
Test the 30 ounces.
Oh man. Well, what's up, dudes? How we all feeling? How we feeling about things? Role play? Good? Yay, nay? God, my day's been so rough. I'm just enjoying my coffee. I need to. Oh. Hey, Barrick.
What's up?
So, I just ran the strip of highway that was given to us, and I have 3 individual sets of blood. I've added them to the report, but I made note that based on timeline, there was a 6-hour difference between the collections. So, whether it gets used or not, it is what it is. In terms of hits, we got nothing that I think is of interest. But
Okay.
But yeah. Was Alice available to talk?
I think she's gonna be. Or you should probably just get in one car and go find her. Honestly.
Okay. Whereabouts are you? I'll drive to the PD.
Getting gas, and then I'll be at the PD.
All good. I'll refill this and I'll hop in your car.
Okay. How'd your talk with Malton go?
It went pretty good. I was just honest. He's like, "Do you want this anonymous?" I said, "Nah." I'm like, if we're gonna go off of accountability, I'm just gonna be blunt. I threw it out there.
Oh, what's the tea? What'd you do?
Oof. I was blunt with him. I'm like, "Hey, listen, I don't think it's all on the fault of one person." I said, but I think if we're gonna be honest, I think a lot of the issues we're falling into fall back to delegation, and I think that, you know, there's a lot that could be improved and a lot that could be better, and I don't think it's anyone's fault one way or another that, you know, things are not going the way that people want it to. I think it's a smaller majority, but I think the fact that most people happen to listen to the minority of people. You have the car, you fuck. God damn it.
Of course they do.
I'm like, who the hell has this damn truck out? I want it. I should have known. But yeah, I pretty much just told him that I think as soon as we're able to, you know, split things off from the responsibility of the captains, like a P&T department and stuff, I see there being a healthier connection with patrol. And I even told him that I think it should be a requirement captains get more time on patrol to see it from the ground up. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I just spoke my mind. Nothing that you haven't already heard from me, or no one else has spewed, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I'll be at the PD in like 30 seconds. I'll see you in a sec.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye. Yo, what's up, Kevy? Kev? What's going on? How are you? The RP is good. Oof, the RP is delicious. It's great. Oh, man. Content's been so good today. It's been great. Do you tend to watch Metaclips after a day or playing, or not at all? I don't ever watch them. I honestly, I get into the healthy habit of I don't care what happens outside of this server when I am not on it. I obviously still have the utmost respect for NoPixel, but I don't go out of my way to search for the answers. When I'm off the computer, that's my time away. You know what I mean? That's not my time to you know, poke the bear and see what I'm looking for. I just do my thing, you know? I think I stay pretty respectful about it, if I'm being honest. Yeah, no.
You're free to go.
That's
Yep,
healthy.
have a good
Listen,
one.
I think to keep things healthy, and I think the reason why I keep things healthy is just because I keep that little bit of a disconnect. You know what I mean? This truck is beautiful.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Hello.
Howdy.
Howdy.
You want to jump in with us so we can talk?
Yeah, let me go park this at the
Okay.
station, okay?
Bye bye.
Bye
Goodbye,
bye.
Forte.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've been doing this long enough to know how to split, you know, what's happening on the computer and having a personal life too. And to be honest with you, I think more people need to have it. And I'm not even talking about the streamer. I'm talking about the viewer as well. I think it's good to just, you know, learn how to disconnect and know your limits. Love the mayor shit at the moment. Oh yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. Was insane though. So I heard. I mean, I didn't get to see it, but I heard it was pretty insane. Appreciate you all being here though. I hope everyone's doing well today and doing good. I feel like I need to have chill hop for today. Oh my god, I hate when this happens. Ugh, Spotify, why must you be so painful and so complicated? I love you, but you just don't ever work with me. I don't know why. This relationship is so toxic. There we go. Hi, Alice.
Hi, how are you two today?
My voice hurts from all the talking I've been doing.
Okay, I'll make sure to do most of the talking, okay?
It's all good. I heard you wanted to talk, and that's perfectly fine. I was just getting caught up because I missed yesterday, and I learned a lot these last 48 hours.
Yeah. I also learned some stuff even today.
Oh, my favorite.
Well, I came on duty with the understanding that Cornwood would have been terminated, and then I found out that he wasn't. So I was fucking shocked, to be honest. Because I did not expect Cornwood to have a job anymore, based on obviously the high command review. So,
tonight.
so I wanted to talk to you guys kind of about that, and kind of pick your brains on some things and some things that I brought. I had a pretty lengthy conversation with Turner, and I expressed like a lot of concern I have with that high command review, and some general concerns now that Aldo has been appointed a captain position.
Yeah, that one I think surprised me. I didn't bring it up with Barrick when we talked, but I did say that. I don't know. There's a lot of shocking things that have come up. A lot of very quick judgments. Not to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No. I was just a conversation. You're fine. I didn't have anything else to say. Yeah, when Turner told me that Aldo had been appointed a captain position, I'm scared. I might be more scared of Aldo being in a captain position than I am necessarily like that Ruth is there. Like the fact that Aldo and again I'm basing this off of just conversations I've had with Aldo himself and also some of the things that the way he had stated things in the High Command review. He's admitted himself he's a very blunt person, and then it comes back to that whole Forte situation with the vomit and like how
I'll just play by John
lacks,
Nabrowski.
like, compassion and empathy. To be in a leadership position like that is kind of scary. Like I'm scared for those bitches. Like no cap.
It is a little interesting that, so he said that himself.
That he is like blunt about it.
No, the whole leadership thing.
No, that's
okay.
my opinion on that. I think that based on that situation, again, maybe it's just that. Maybe if I have other things, I only have that to work on, right? I hope that he has some kind of compassion and his ability to be open-minded and not treat everyone the same way. Like
Popular Street with
he's able to read the room and read how a
I don't
person
know.
is going to be receptive and responsive to like maybe a way you're going to treat them. I would
He has a
hope.
very militaristic background, so
Sure.
it's pretty unlikely.
Probably not, exactly. And I'm gonna be just fucking blunt about it. Bitches like that cannot be in charge of everyone below them. Because everyone below them is not necessarily of that same background.
Straight, black and colored.
We already are struggling with morale.
Yeah, I have brought this up. I just spoke with Malton not long ago about his audit thing, and I did go into morale, and I did talk about how I believe that empathy is something that this police department lacks, and I can't believe I'm saying it, but I do think that Shift 3, while we are very serious at times, are probably, from what I have heard, one of the more empathetic shifts. I feel like we are receptive to listen to everybody. We want to listen to everybody. We want to hear their point of views. But what we fall into a lot is our views, and respectfully, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with this. I do think that our views differ from other shifts very drastically.
The thing is, I don't know if that's true.
What do you mean?
I don't think that our views differ that much.
Oh, he turned the truck on.
From shift 2s. Like, I genuinely feel like it's just shift 1. Like, I don't, and I hate like calling like straight people out or calling like, but I can't look past the idea that I feel like that is the only place where there is a difference in like feel and the way people are treated.
You know what? I will come up with this and say this much. I don't disagree with that statement. If there is a shift that has been brought to at least the seniors' attention the most, respectfully speaking, it has been shift 1. And is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't know.
Matter of perspective.
It's exactly. It's a matter of perspective. Do I think? And I this is something that Malton did bring up with me, and I made my point. I said I can't speak for other shifts, but I can speak for my own. And I told him, I said, do I think that Ruth is this big bad wolf? No. Do I think that shift 1 as a shift operates drastically differently from our shift? I said absolutely. Something that we would find okay in shift 3, people are getting in trouble with in shift 1. And I think because there's that, I'm gonna call it maybe a little bit of a disconnect, we do fall in line where it feels like there is this weird line drawn in the sand somewhere, and everybody's assuming where the line is.
I want to bring up something.
Yeah, what's up?
I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. If you have more thought, I don't want to make you forget. So if you have more to say, go first, and then I'll
No,
comment.
you're fine. I'm just spitballing.
I think that for as far as we go, right? The three of us have all worked together. The three of us have history. The three of us were right here in this shift together. So a lot of our experiences is based off of that in a way, right? Like that is, you know, a part of our background. That is going to happen, right?
Sure.
And, you know, I'd be sitting here lying to you if that years ago when I would be working, sometimes people from shift 2, sometimes people from shift 1 would come into our shift and they would do things that were like very like different than what is a usual thing for our shift, right?
Yeah.
But I never once, I mean, like, honestly, half the time I would just laugh because it was normally them just being like kind of goofy or something, or
Yeah.
like, or they would just like, they had different like protocol, but it was never like a negative thing. Maybe they weren't like as efficient as what we are, or as efficient as what we train, sure. But I mean, like, it didn't, oh Lord.
You thought, motherfucker, holy.
Considering
I
that.
wish.
I think it's possible, but
I just
we're
think
not gonna find
intrusive
out.
thought, yeah, intrusive thoughts take over on that one.
Yeah.
But as far as like, did it make people, I never heard like someone say, oh, I don't want to be around shift 3 because XYZ. Now granted, I was a peasant right back then, so I didn't
Yeah,
hear a
people
lot
didn't
of
want to be
that.
around shift 3 because it was slow, not because of
Yes.
the people or anything along those
Yes,
lines.
it was very slow. It was very
What the
rough
fuck?
at the times.
Oh.
What? Oh.
Oh.
Oh. Oh,
Oh.
girl. Oh, she about to take that to her babies.
Oh my god, that's so fucking sick. She's sleeping next to the grave.
That's
That's fucked up. What the fuck?
Eric, you can't.
Oh, I
That's for
can.
food.
Listen, locals don't have.
There's snitches in this car?
No.
Yes. I have a fucking heart barrack.
118 off traffic, 10-8.
That's animal cruelty right there, according to legislation.
Animal cruelty?
Yes.
That cat just fucking murdered that guy.
Yeah, and locals don't have rights.
Okay, whatever.
But damn, that was crazy. That damn cat was like, yo, this my territory. I've never seen that shit before. Sorry. Not to cut you off, Alice.
No. And to hear like now when someone comes from a shift to go into another shift that they feel like people are bullying other people, that people are being like essentially degraded, like the fact of it is that the numbers don't lie. Okay, we have significantly less employees hired for our shift. And I of course I can't speak after Storm, right? But as far as before, the numbers for shift 1 are so lackluster, it's actually terrifying. Like when it's time for me to go off duty and I look at it and I'm like, okay, we're peaking at the beginning of shift 1 and there's no bitches around, like I'm scared for the damn world.
Yeah, afterwards, after the storm, they're fine, but
Sure.
before it's bad.
I think that also is like a different
And it goes back to
time, too.
the age-old conversation is like, where a lot of people shift 2 begins at
yes.
weather change and not.
At the time, yes.
Yeah.
But regardless, I also think that maybe I'm wrong, because if we're talking a month and a half ago, I wouldn't have said the same thing. There were a lot of people that were around at the end of shift 3, beginning of shift 1, and then they all got dapped to hell, it seems like.
Eric, you're scaring me.
He's testing it out. How are we supposed to give feedback if we don't take it
I
to the
agree.
extreme?
I agree. I just, you know,
I was thinking you go up here backwards. Like, I don't understand what the issue is.
nah, this thing is, telling you, this is my baby. I'm gonna buy one.
You gonna buy this?
Oh yeah. The takeaway I think is this, right? The question is, I'm going to say something that might be kind of a hot take, but the question is it Captain Ruth, or is it just the culture that has been built around Shift 1?
But you have to you have to blame the cult. I'm just going to be completely honest. You have to blame the culture of Shift 1 around the person that fostered it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, though.
There's nothing else you can. There's no other person you can blame. You can't blame fucking Jesus for just like.
Well, did you not just hear what I said?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like.
Yeah, but like the reality is that. Is it Ruth or is it the culture that's been built around it? Because reality is the culture that's been built around it was still built by someone, right?
Yeah.
So that's the point I'm making. Is, let's say Captain Ruth isn't on duty. Is that going to help with Shift 1? The reality is that the seniors in Shift 1 also are aware of the expectations from, you know, for sake of argument, the caterer. And I think that's also sort of where the problem is, you know, at what point does this get trickled down so far that it's not just a, you know, quote unquote, Captain Ruth issue? When does it just become that the shift is now all followed this same protocol that no one is around it? Which the reality is around this time, I'm surprised we have as many units as we do right now on duty. This is like surprisingly good for us right now. And what I hate to say is, most of us here are Shift 3. Not a lot of these people are Shift 1.
Yeah, King is the only one.
Yeah.
Does King go on duty after the storm? I don't actually know.
Oh, after this?
Oh.
After the storm?
Yes.
Only for the meeting.
I haven't seen that meeting since I got hired.
I went one time.
It's not
it
worth
was just one.
the vibes are fucking terrible.
Are they really that bad?
It's bad. I mean, like, to be fair, they do a very, you know, no bullshit meeting. It's like, say what you need to say, and they're in and out in like 15 minutes max. Like,
I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna start. I'm saying but we should start bringing back like just something at our meetings. I do want to start working on the morale side maybe a little bit. And while I don't think we have as much of a problem, it doesn't hurt to start catering to it a little bit, because I do think that, you know, maybe having a little bit of something to chuckle about at the meeting would be good every day, right? Have something that's of value in that regard. I think that our meeting does good for that. I haven't seen the other meeting to kind of have a baseline, but it sounds like they are, based on what you're saying, it's just a very much rip the band-aid off. Once it stops stinging, get the fuck out there with a new one and move on.
I mean, they do not mince words at that time. Like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Again, it's a matter of perspective.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is, like, this is where I feel like having one person at the very tippity top would be able to cultivate like the proper environment that that person would want across all three shifts. As far as police, even if we can't like change the people that we're dealing with, obviously, in each shift.
Give me a second. Hello, Albert. How are ya? Good morning. I'm doing good. How are you today?
It's crazy. He didn't call me or Flawed to ask us how we're doing. Wild.
No, you're completely fine. It's okay. You.
I'll write this in my diary later.
It's. I promise you, it's completely fine, because if someone doesn't do it, then nobody's doing it, right? Like, that's okay. It's okay. Taurus, yeah, you can. Just make sure that you repair it when you're done, obviously, and fuel it. Yes, you're completely fine. I think you might be the only one even out on the streets with one. So we need it. It needs to be out there. Otherwise, it's a hindrance, if not, you know. So, did you like the bike? How do you think the bike is?
Hello.
Oh my fucking This senior caravan of bullshit is not gonna fucking fly with me. Look at you two. Jesus Christ.
Not exactly where.
Where's my phone call, motherfuckers? This is fucking bullshit, dude. Where's my phone call, you fucks? Duncan, get on duty. I need someone to yell at me.
Get wrapped up as we can. Bye.
Make a note of that, and yeah, you're completely fine to take the Taurus. It's all good, and don't feel bad about calling and asking. No problem. You have a wonderful shift. All right, goodbye.
Oh,
All right,
man.
we need to not mince time because Turner wants us out on patrol.
Yeah, I understand that. It's the problem with the lack of number. We either go off duty and have this conversation, or which
16576.
it's a work conversation. So like, what do you do, right? I don't know.
This is a needed senior conversation. I understand the captain's perspective. I do think that this is a good thing to do, though.
So I wanted to talk to you guys specifically on the High Command review, because obviously I was in it, and I wanted to give you guys the feedback that I gave to Turner, on how I felt like it was. And I did talk to him. He said I was allowed to talk about it. So at least for this one. In the future ones, they might not allow.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
All right, we'll just stay here.
Okay. Pretty view.
So to start, I voted for a demotion to PPO. I voted for him to keep 5 strikes, or sorry, damps, because those were what led him to get to the High Command review. And FTO cert removal, and I don't know if you guys read the command report, but his DAPs all seem to hinder or be based around his lack of SOP knowledge. So I said essentially for him to get some kind of SOP quiz, because let's face it, he probably may never have even read the SOPs from the start, to be honest. Like, and I would not be surprised, and I'm just being blunt with it. He probably has never even fucking read them. Maybe he skimmed them, but probably. And I think that goes without saying. Like, a lot of people probably are around that same boat, to be honest. So
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think it's just. I say to myself, I'm going to be the first to admit it. If you would have asked me about SOPs years ago, I would have read them maybe once every 6 months, maybe every 4 months.
Okay,
I might
it's
touch up
roleplay.
and read some shit. The only reason I know things now
Just sit
is
back
because
and let it
I'm teaching
happen.
other people, so I feel like I have to like know what the fuck I'm about to teach someone, right? So that's the only reason I'm as knowledgeable now, and quite frankly, my ass would not be reading them that often if I wasn't. Like, that's just the facts about it. And I don't blame anybody for not being necessarily up to a. That's a lot of knowledge. That's a lot of shit to take in.
Man's wrote the SOPs. That's not true.
Truthfully. So, and again, I just think they probably just didn't read them.
I know who did write
to,
the
like,
SOPs,
take a
and
little
it wasn't
test
him.
was my idea. Something we would do similar to someone who is a cadet going to a PPO phase, right? Is my idea. And I had a lot of problems with how the review was held, what happened. So even the fact that he was in review, after I started realizing there's something, a part of it that bothered me, which was I don't even like that he had minor DAPs that had the new standard been in effect, or he would have gotten like a grandfathered into those DAPs were reduced to a 30-day time, he wouldn't have even been at 10.
So, I forget where I read it. I forget or who said it. There's information that I'm missing in terms of validity. I want to say it was Turner who had said, or I had read somewhere that any DAPs prior to the new system were staying as the old method. But I do agree with you. I think a lot of his other DAPs fell under those minor DAPs anyway.
Well, and that's the thing is that I don't. If you're, I guess, listen, they can do it either way. There's like pros and cons to either way, but ultimately it's a system that we're creating. There's no regulations on how we do it. It's something that we're making.
Yeah.
I don't see, if you agree that 60 days for minor DAPs, because if you're changing the system, you in some way want to test this out, right?
Sure.
If you are in agreement that that is like a standard like that we would want across for 30-day DAPs, like 30 days for minors, why would that not be the same for the minors that were DAPed for in the past?
I don't disagree with you.
Why that wouldn't have been taken into account? And I took that into account. I personally feel like that should be like the fact that, and this is my thing that I said, is that I DAPed Forte the day before the change happened. Forte's DAP, which is a minor DAP, will stay 60 days. I can DAP someone tomorrow and their DAP will fall off for the exact same thing that I DAP Forte for, which was paperwork. I could DAP someone tomorrow for paperwork. Their paperwork DAP will fall off before Forte's. And whether that DAP is on or not, it is, when you get into a high command review, it is about your entirety of employment. It's not necessarily just DAPs that you have right then and there. It's about everything of your entirety of your performance. He wouldn't have even been there for a high command review had the new system, had that system. Like, it just seems like the timing of the system being announced and the fact that his DAPs, a lot of them were minor, and some of them I probably wouldn't have even DAPed for. It would have been a conversation, a warning, like, hey, you can't do this, and a go on from that. Personally, but again, I think that
I would have backed you up if I was there, to be honest, because I do agree with you that if 3 captains made this decision to make this vote, essentially, and to essentially be in agreement that we should have minor DAPs and major DAPs and how they're held, then I do believe that you should be enforcing that standard. Because we're not pushing legislation here, right?
Right.
We're not in the court of law. We are working.
This isn't a law. We are making this up on what we want as a standard. What we want. I would do how we want it.
My personal opinion: if 3 captains came to this decision, I feel like we should be enforcing it to start with. And I would. Oh Jesus, I would be backing you up with that. And I
asked specifically why DAPs that were given that were minor before were not getting reduced to the 30 days, and Ruth's statement was, if I get a jaywalking ticket and that legislation changes, or whatever the fuck it is changes, that stays, that my whatever punishment or whatever it was stays up for us a jaywalking ticket. And I said fair enough, and I thought to myself, again,
it
this
also
isn't
says on your profile where jaywalking is that it says decriminalized. So
that is
I didn't know that information, but regardless, I don't think we should be basing our
SOPs on law.
SOPs on laws, like for something like that.
I don't disagree.
Especially because, again, there's a reason that turned into a 30-day thing versus a 60-day thing, right? Someone in somewhere they agree with that 60 days is too much. It needs to be like a reevaluate. So that was like the start of my thought process was, would he even be here right now? And he wouldn't have been had that standard
been applied.
Correct. And it just seems, and also the fact that his high command review was
it looks like a shipping container, like the thing that moves
like
around.
just timing just is so, it just seemed like it's so unfortunate for the guy, to be honest. The day after his high command review, his 4 or 5 DAPs fall off. Like it's just I think it was 4 of them. He had a 3 count and a 1. It wasn't even in the it's not even in the command report. It's not even written in there for me to I had gotten told about it. They were talking to me. So that was like my first thought. My second thought was this is a command review over, and this is something that I will in the future. Anyone, and I'm suggesting this to you guys to do too. Because no one coaches you to prepare for a high command review, right? As someone who is going in to be reviewed or as a reviewer. Nobody told me anything. I just got thrown into the fucking hole and said, figure it out, essentially, which is fine. But I said, if we're going to be doing a review over someone's entirety of their employment, the command report is like one sentence about barely describing any of the things, and it says nothing good about him. If we're going to review someone's entirety of their employment, there should be notes about good things about a person too. It shouldn't just be all the bad shit. It literally is just fucking all the bad shit. And it's such a negative mentality to just go in with that kind of mindset. I feel like we need to talk about the good things he does. And I spoke to Turner about all this stuff, by the way. And Turner said, well, that's what he's supposed to do, is he's supposed to essentially plead his case on...
I would disagree with that. I didn't even go. I would imagine that his whole point is to essentially defend what they're pushing against him.
I'll take a look at it, thank you.
Correct. I feel like... You know, he doesn't know that he needs to talk about all of... It wasn't like no conversation to him about... hey, can you tell us what good you do in general with your employment in the police department? That question was not asked to him. It was a bulletin point of discussion of this is why you adapt. These are all the things you adapt for. What can you improve on these situations? Okay, essentially, he was just talking about what had happened. And
is that not what got him resulted in the DAP to begin with? Doesn't he?
I'm assuming that's the conversation you have, right? Like that's what we would have.
Like when we talk about dapping somebody, we get both sides. We talk and we determine if their explanation is enough and it's DAP worthy. At what point? Okay, so just to break it down, when we dap somebody, we get the statement, we get the information, we conduct our internal investigation, we talk to other parties involved, and then we talk to direct parties, aka the person that is looking at receiving those DAPs. And if we determine at that point punishment needs to be had, we follow through with that punishment. It doesn't make sense to me to think that in a high command review, let's just bring up the things that we've already discussed to determine we're DAP worthy, and hey, plead your case. Why are we making someone do that? At that point, what was the point of pleading the case in the first place if you were just going to have to plead it a second time? Does that make sense? Hey,
yeah.
This is what's going on. Explain your case. No, I already did. But there's that. And two, I also was under the impression they had an opportunity, because without ever going to one of these, I thought that they had an opportunity to talk about all the good. But I'm just learning now that that's not even the case at all, which does not make sense to me.
They do, but it's not like they're told that. How to, like, again, until I brought it up to Turner and I said we should have a list of good things. We need to talk about good things, right? Like, anytime you have a conversation with someone, even when you're issuing disciplinary action, you need to leave on a positive note, or like lead with a positive note. There needs to be like.
I need you guys to be respectful about other streamers and characters,
just
please.
Shit on someone and then just leave them
I'll
there.
just keep it blunt.
You know what
I will just
like,
slap bans.
Like
I don't mind.
Especially
this is a conversation that we're having.
I came into the high command review.
We can also be respectful about it.
I've been on shift with Cornwood
You know what I
7
mean?
times. That's it, right? And I said this. I was like,
On the phone, so
while I am the least biased,
What's up, Pharma? How are you?
I also had the least knowledge as well. I said I was like, you having someone part of his to actually works with him to be able to stand there and speak on the good on his behalf for him is needed, because again, it's not like he was like told, like given the opportunity to, or like it just never
vehicles.
came really up, and I felt like that was just such a.
I do not have visual on it at this time.
Again, if we're going
Such
to
a-
review someone and they're full of their employment, I feel like the good needs to be discussed. The good needs to be there. And when it came to everything he was stopped for, he was receptive. He had said, you know, I
Like,
wouldn't
that
do
looks
this
like it
again.
could pick up,
Now
like,
that I have this information,
a Group
essentially,
6 truck, for
I
example.
wouldn't do this again. He, other than the situation where he was
Brian
dapped with Brian, which he
something
does
along
not
those
agree
lines.
with, and he is very,
Yeah, firm. It does look.
you know, he's very forward about that. And then
Not sure what
the
his intention is. We'll
overstepping
wait on it
with
for now unless we have
Captain Ruth
Vernon
and
falls up in
Billy
your
Viv, which
that.
he said, you know, his justification, I agree with. He was given tips on how to handle that situation better. But essentially, he said that that is something that he would have done. He would have done differently, but he would have done the same, if that makes sense. He would have still stood up for officers and tried to de-escalate the situation. However, maybe he would have pulled the leading officers
That's
aside and
fine.
said, "Hey, I have a rapport with this person. Can I step in and try to calm them down? Because what's happening now is not working." Right? And that was a conversation he had. And he said that he would try to do that in the future. So he was receptive of knowing, like, the things he did wrong for the things he got dapped for, and doing something different and doing something better for all of the future things. And he said that in this review. So essentially, he's done talking at this point, right? He's done talking, and I'm cooked at this point as well. So I just want to clarify that. So my retention was significantly less than a normal conversation, but I started asking questions. I asked, like, you know, this is where it led me to ask, like, what is leading us to for something that would be now a 30-day DAP. You know, why are we still holding him to a 60-day of that, and so on and so forth. And then I was kind of like, they were asking me, like, what my thoughts would probably be. Like, we were given like 24 hours to vote. However, it was like people were supposed to, like, kind of give their opinion right then and there, which benefited me because it was good to hear why people were voting the way they were.
Mm-hmm.
And when we stood there, Ruth wanted termination immediately. I think she wanted termination before we even got into the high command that review, to be honest. I really and truly feel like she didn't even need a review. She wanted him fired, to be honest.
She was there as a formality, essentially, is what you think.
Yeah, and that's just my opinion. I mean, a lot of this is based on my opinion on something, right? Slacks said that termination, loss of PPO, and essentially he felt like Cornwood has learned from his mistakes of all of the things, like that he's gotten better and that he has progressed as an officer.
That is 1032.
I don't remember if Aldo said anything right then and there. To be honest, again, I was so tired. I couldn't say anything. There was a lot that I really needed to think about. And Turner also needed to wait. So we're told right then and there, 24 hours, were to essentially communicate via an email chain, because to schedule us to all get back together was going to be a problem or hard or something along those lines. It became that. And I, in this, Ruth put her decision, Slacks put his decision. Aldo said he needed some time to think about his decision, and then gave his decision like 12 hours later or something like that. And apparently something had happened at MRPD with Cornwood, and apparently like 20 civilians or something.
Yeah, I was present for that.
Okay, and Aldo's decision had context and was based around that situation. So then I asked what happened, because if we're basing
the man's career off of something while he's been indefinitely suspended, it better be damning.
I don't even
Not
think
that.
Aldo was there.
Well, that's the thing, is that it wasn't even that. It's the fact that we have 5 people who are making like a review, and some people have information that others don't, that's coming to light after the review panel.
Yeah.
That is changing their decision, or making that they're bringing up in their decision. Like, what? I need to know this information. Okay, so I asked. I said, you know, can I get some because there was something about being disrespectful to captains or command or however it was worded, and I said, can I get some clarification on what happened? What's going on? And that's when Aldo said he wasn't there and he had heard it from Slacks. And so then I said, okay, can I get some clarification still? You know, like what happens that is being brought up, that is what's when he's saying this is termination is what I want, and this is based off of this and what happened today, that for the disrespect for captain or for command. And I said, and if that's going to be part of your explanation, that has to be something big that happened, right? So I want to know what happened. So Slack says, you know, he will get back to us, you know, the next morning. Next morning comes, nothing yet. It's like noon, or something, like maybe 1 p.m. Eastern. And I thought that he would have 24 hours. We would get back to him 24 hours from the time that the High Command review ended. However, it was based on the time that the High Command review started. So it was supposed to be done by 3 p.m. Eastern. According to Ruth, because then the next thing I know, I'm getting asked, like, you know, hey, you have like an hour and a half to have your decision made. And it was for myself and Turner. And so I said, well, I'm still kind of waiting to hear what the situation was, because again, I feel like if something's coming to light after the fact, it's important for me. I want to know. I want to know what happened. Then Aldo kind of spoke very briefly on it, but then he said, but he wasn't there as the second hand, and so I'm going to be honest, and I mean this with the most respect. I'm not going to fucking give a shit about something secondhand when someone who was there can tell me.
I was going to say, that's fucking insane.
It's already half the story is going to be lost because of the time passing from when it happens from what Slacks is going to tell me, and then on top of that, it's secondhand from another person. Like, it's just fucking irrelevant, to be frank. Like, I read it and I'm like, okay, well, I want to just hear like actually what happened, because him himself said that he didn't know it was secondhand, right?
If he didn't know, why was that like such a big part of his
well, he has like what Slacks told him, but like he couldn't really give the description, I think, of especially what I wanted.
Could I give you my hot take?
Yeah.
And I'm saying this, and I want to throw up saying it because I think everybody in this truck feels the same way. But we all know PD communication is not a strong suit. It never was, it never will be. But if we're going to base a man's career over a vote, let's not go with secondhand information. Let's not, if we actually want to make change and we actually want there to be impact on what we're doing, I understand that Slacks has his opinion about a situation based on his information, but if we're only getting it from one voice, to base any opinion outside of that would be detrimental to someone's possible career. I think is inside that itself part of the problem.
I mean, the whole panel is kind of that, right? It's all secondhand information. However, it seemed like their decision was swayed based off of that situation. That's how I took it. His decision was in some way leaned a certain direction towards that situation because of what happened in that situation. And again, this is my opinion. I could be completely fucking wrong. I don't know. But that's like how it led me to believe. So,
I think they're about to rob a group.
Again, I just feel like it should be even playing field, if you will. Like I should be provided all of the same information as everyone else who was there.
I think he's gonna.
And
I
sure.
think he's
Okay.
gonna buff
Then-
the